This is going to be your guide to using Bellibolt in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So this entire video is going to be math. We need to understand everything about Bellibolt's stats, moves, and ability to get the most out of this Pokemon, and it all revolves around this crazy ability, Electromorphosis. If the Pokemon is hit from an attack, it gains the charge effect. What's the charge effect? It means your next electric type move deals double damage. Alright, that's pretty cool. Let's look at the moves. Parabolic Charge recovers 50% of the damage dealt on an electric type move. That sounds nuts. Why don't we see this everywhere on every electric Pokemon? Well, that's because almost no Pokemon get it, so you might not even know that it exists, because we have Heliolisk, Dedenne, and I guess Miraidon brought more attention to this if you picked Violet version, but Bellibolt gets it, and that's where the stats come into play, because we have a good-ish special attack. 103 isn't crazy, but on a very bulky Pokemon. 109 on the hit points, 91 defense, 83 special defense. This Pokemon's going to take a hit, and it's also slow. So that means it's going to then get charged, use Parabolic Charge at double damage of a 103 special attack, and then heal for 50% of the damage dealt. That's a pretty wild interaction. Also gets pretty crazy in double battles because Parabolic Charge hits everything, including your ally. So that means you can also heal your ally that has Volt Absorb while healing yourself and then dealing damage to the opposing Pokemon. And again, because you're pretty slow, you're actually going to be healing off a lot as well. This is not going to be a doubles moveset, but it's just kind of showing like, yeah, Parabolic Charge, pretty crazy, and it seems like Bellibolt, just the best user of it. So now we need to figure out how to make it work, or how all of this interacts, and if it's actually any good. So what about the big root item? You know, there's a lot of items in Pokemon that get pretty much no usage because they're just not that good. Is this big root's time to shine, because the holder gains 30% more healing from Leech Seed, Strength Sap, and draining moves. So let's go to Damage Calculator to figure out how all of this works. We have Parabolic Charge dealing 32 to 38% on a naturally bulky Pokemon. So we have our Silvally damage analog, 95s across the board. It means you're going to find generally weaker Pokemon and deal more damage to them. So this is kind of a good place to work off of, and that's where the math comes in. Now we're going to funnel everything onto the Bellibolt and see what the results are. So that's not a lot of healing. What happens if we come in with that big root? And big root is so never used that it's not even programmed into the damage calculator. Okay, well, we can just kind of figure out the problem with it right now and kind of fix that up anyways, because if we go into the Life Orb, well, Life Orb is going to give us that 30% more damage, and effectively the 30% more healing. So we deal more damage, it cuts 10% of our health, but that's kind of fine for the extra damage we're dealing. Then we also get more healing out of it. Let's then see what happens if we receive a hit and then get charged for that special attack boost. Okay, so we are almost one-hit KOing one of the bulkier Pokemon in the game. That's really where you want to be. And then we can also go Terra Electric if we want to, and that's going to destroy almost any Pokemon with the Life Orb. We can also not have Terra Electric, go into the Choice Specs, and that's going to give us some pretty good results for one-hit KOs. So not as much damage, but yeah, that kind of creeps us into just destruction territory. Now, I might be thinking, if I'm doing 100% of the opponent's health and damage, why am I not healing 50%? Well, that's because Bellibolt has more base hit points than most Pokemon, so it's going to be healing off of a smaller pool from the opposing Pokemon, which actually kind of shows why you don't want to go full hit point investment, that you're going to be taking less damage from this type of attack, so let's just say defense, so you're taking less damage from a physical hit, and then that means you're also going to be able to heal up more of your hit point pool from the opposing Pokemon, so it's not going to waste stats, and it's going to give you more efficiency. It's kind of like a weird interaction, but it is something to kind of keep in mind. You can go all in on the defense if you want to, or you can split it up however you feel you need. You can also do something like 160-92, just kind of balance out your defenses a bit more and have that extra durability against special attacks while surviving physical hits pretty well. What happens if we throw down the multi-attack? What damage does that look like? So we have a 120 base power move from a 95 attacker at 252, and we can see that like we can survive that hit without a Life Orb or any kind of extra shenanigans, and then pretty much fully heal it back while one-shotting the opponent. So it's really about that charge. Like if you eat the hit and then throw everything back with the Bellibolt, you're just getting a free KO, and then you're ending up close to full health. Let's find a more realistic scenario because Silvally isn't in the game. Rotom. So we have Rotom Wash being pretty common. It can kind of come in, use a choice specs on the Timid Nature. We're actually seeing more Modest because we're in a pretty damage-heavy metagame. So let's see like what we survive and what we get back. So choice specs, Hydro Pump dropped down to level 50. And yeah, even with a little bit of special defense investment, like we just tank it out on natural bulk, even into a modest nature, max special attack. So just Pokemon Showdown, Smogon, and their trash movesets, gotta fix them. Even then, we're not getting one hit KO'd by the Hydro Pump, and then a neutral hit on the Rotom Wash is going to KO with the choice specs. Also kind of shows why using Silvally as a damage analog, you don't have to like commit to that being where you need to KO. So anything under that, you're going to be pretty good. So what about the Life Orb into the scenario? So we're going to be taking a lot of damage. Rotom also doesn't have a lot of hit points. Let's say we take 80%. We're going to be healing off, 34% off this one hit KO. Then we're going to be taking another 10% in Life Orb burn. But we are getting the KO. So we just remove a choice specs Rotom from the game. Now, unfortunately, at 40%, we don't really survive from too much offensive pressure, so Life Orb burn actually hurting us in this case, but the freedom to change your moves can be very significant on the Bellibolt, because if you're just choice spec'd and the opponent is trying to set up, like if they're just using Swords Dance, or if they're going Stockpile, Iron Defense, Calm Mind, any of that, well, they're not charging your Parabolic Charge, and then you're hitting into a tanking or setting up Pokemon with a low power move. Even with the choice specs, 103 special attack isn't that great. So Bellibolt just kind of works as an anti-sweeping Pokemon. Like, they have to be swinging at you. You absorb the hit, and then you one-shot them back and get all of your health. But if that's not happening, then you're in trouble, which is why you might need the Life Orb to kind of pivot and have those extra options. But then if you're trying to survive multiple overwhelming hits, it can be pretty bad. Now, if Rotom is like one of their primary just big damage attackers and they come into something that has less offensive threat, then you heal off of it and try to stabilize. That can still work out. So it just kind of shows like no matter what you do, there's going to be something that stops you because that's just the nature of Pokemon. If you're running Life Orb, it also lets you go into the Acid Spray. So if an opposing Pokemon comes in that's trying to set up Calm Mind or trying to do some kind of like tanky setup, you can just Acid Spray them down. Eventually just kind of like get them to where they're just taking too much damage from the Parabolic Charge anyways. So Acid Spray is like an incredible just anti-setup kind of move. You also have options with the Slack Off. So Bellibolt just gets weird stuff, but also not a lot at the same time. Like, that's it. We have water stuff, we have electric moves, the random Acid Spray and Sucker Punch, and then we heal. But no like extra kind of crazy coverage. Terra types are also weird because if you have the Terra Electric, it means you're able to just, put that extra damage in, maybe find some other options on your moveset. Like, to one-hit KO the Rotom, we just pop off the Life Orb, and then we go into the Terra Electric, and then we're still finding the one-hit KO, even without a damaging item. And it means for the Pokemon that have lower hit point pools, you can take that hit, and then have something like a Citrus Berry, and now you're just like Giga Mega sustain against everything, back to full health, still have the Terra Electric for the Parabolic Charge, and then you can respond to any threat that's going to come in, and you have the freedom to change your moves because you're not choice. So that's kind of an idea, and then it keeps into all of this, but it means you have to dedicate your Terra, which can go pretty bad, and it also means that if they have like Ground-type Pokemon, you just completely fall apart. So that's why you also might want something else here, like just a Terra type that can go into water. So you go Terra Water. Maybe you don't have the Sucker Punch because that's going to be more like niche. However, a Focus Sash Pokemon is also bad for you because you one-shot them, you heal up, but then they survive at 1 hit points, they hit you, and then you just get to heal 1 back off the Parabolic Charge. So that's not really that great, but like Terra Blast as an option. So you can go Terra Water, shift your weakness around, and then now you have the Terra Blast to just blow up some kind of Ground-type Pokemon, even though you're not always going to see like Earthquakes and Ground-type moves from only Ground-type Pokemon. A lot of things just kind of tech into the Earthquake. But with this being kind of your only thing, then you just switch into a Corviknight or something. Just have like a ridiculous Flying-type Pokemon to back up your Bellibolt, and you're probably going to be okay. So maybe you can just go like all in, Terra Electric, Sucker Punch, nice little thing to have, Acid Spray to break down the tanks, Slack Off to kind of heal up where the Parabolic Charge won't, as you're just kind of waiting out your opponent for the opportunity to kind of KO them, and then maybe Citrus Berry, Wise Glass is like so troll here, but the game is weird. The meta is weird. Power creep makes it to where maybe this 10% over a couple of hits actually matters for both your healing and KOing the opposing Pokemon. So if you're using Citrus Berry and the opponent just like barely survives every time, consider the Wise Glasses, even though it is a noob trap item. Or you can also go into the Assault Vest and then kind of change it up from there. Weather Ball, just in case someone's trying to go for like weather strategies, you steal that, you get an extra move, get some extra typing and some damage down. Mostly just kind of like, yeah, just Parabolic Charge on the Assault Vest. The Assault Vest giving you 30% more hit points special, so then you can just now go all in on defense, do something like this. Quiet Nature, people are going to talk about it because, well, you always want to get outsped, so don't hyper train the IVs. Pretty difficult and a lot of work to get like 0 IVs in a lot of situations, so unless you have that dedicated setup, like I don't think getting a Trick Room Ditto or Trick Room breeding setup is worth it for the Bellibolt. So if you already have it, that's cool, but if not, just like catch a natural Bellibolt, get the IVs as low as you can, and then hyper train around it. Quiet Nature means more things going to outspeed you. Go into the Parabolic Charge, that's going to be cool. Assault Vest going to actually make you like more specially tanky than defensively with like this full investment, and then you just run it. So if the name of the game is durability and sustain, then the Assault Vest works out just fine. Maybe Leftovers protect, because yeah, just about getting enough health, just having enough health to survive, and then you do like crazy damage on the Parabolic Charge. Can be really annoying, just have like that protect, just top you off every time with the Leftovers. And because as we can see from like the damage numbers on like low hit point Pokemon, well, getting 2 Leftovers worth, even after one hit KO or after doing substantial damage to the opponent, can really matter. So yeah, Bellibolt can take a lot of different forms that make it easier to team build around. So if you go all in on that Terra Electric, which doesn't seem like a terrible idea, it just brings risk, like any mono Terra strat kind of idea. But if you do that, then you up your one-hit KO potential a lot, can make this Pokemon very durable. You only have one weakness on the Electric, so it's more predictable to just go into a Flying-type Pokemon. Corviknight is pretty crazy. You give it a taunt, that way the opponent can't like set up, and then Bellibolt finds more options into like raw aggression, and then you can back up Bellibolt with other Pokemon, and actually pretty good. I feel like it can be really difficult to play around this Pokemon because of the Acid Spray, where it's like, oh yeah, you bring in a Blissey. Well, if Blissey's trying to set up for the Calm Minds or something, Acid Spray is going to make Blissey vulnerable at some point, and Blissey isn't going to ramp enough damage into an Assault Vester or something that's high defense invested. So eventually Blissey just ends up like -4, can't one-hit KO the Bellibolt, and then Parabolic Charge starts doing a lot of damage. So yeah, things can get really weird really quick. So let's just say like -4 because like Calm Mind interactions and stuff like that. Parabolic Charge, uncharged depending on if Blissey attacks or not, still does a significant amount of damage. That also means we can say like even at +6 Calm Mind, Hyper Voice isn't going to be a one-hit KO, that's going to be stabbed, but you're going to want to see something more like the Flamethrower on a setup Blissey, so that's 2-hit KO potential. But like we're healing small amounts with the Parabolic Charge, so the special attacker can just like out-sustain and eventually break down a special tank like the Blissey, which is kind of wacky. And if Blissey eventually like tries to swing and you get that prediction, not much Blissey gets to do about it. Also, the small amounts of chip damage from the Acid Spray do matter, especially as like Acid Spray amps more and more damage. So there is like a combo of threat and potential where you just get to the point where like Parabolic Charge completely offsets the Soft Boiled, Blissey isn't allowed to set up anymore, and now you're just kind of taking out everything with the Bellibolt. And then maybe if we're actually just kind of like breaking down Pokemon in this way, Chilling Water also works. You tag like a switch into a Pokemon that wants to Earthquake you, and then you're just supporting anything else you're switching into, or also the Chilling Water coverage. You just like Acid Spray something, hit them with a super Chilling Water. If you're just fine, then that's cool. Chilling Water also just like makes you take less damage, so you can get some of that health back on the Parabolic Charge. Yeah, Bellibolt's kind of busted when you actually like just play the matchup correctly. Don't stay in on ground type moves. Every Baxcalibur is going to go Terra Ground, so just play around that, and then you just win. How have team composition of Bellibolt not taken over? I don't know. But yeah, the Pokemon, it was speculated to be busted when it was first revealed, because like, yeah, Electromorphosis is just doubling damage on a Pokemon that looks like it's going to be fat and tanky. Turns out to be good. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.